save my soul tonight. I'm humbled at your feet. Surrender my life to your hands, to your son who died for me.
Hi, everyone.
Hello.
Welcome. There's
Hey,
Pam,
everyone.
Claudette and Randy.
Hello, Claudette, Randy, Pam.
Good to see you guys.
Welcome in.
I'm so excited about
Jesse,
today's topic.
welcome in.
Hi, Jesse.
Don't forget to give Josie one of these.
I need one of those.
Well, hey, it's me, Randy.
And Randy and Scooter and Jesse.
Oh, hey, Scooter. Y'all share us out and let everybody know that we're live. Tonight's going to be a very, very good topic.
Yep.
It's going to be good.
My favorite.
We might get our legs striped. We might get a spanking, but we're going to learn something, I think. You know, you ever been to church and the preacher preaches on something and you walk out and go, well, I guess he just spanked me. I'm going to go home and repent. But you feel, and that's when you know you've been to church, is when they're preaching and is speaking to you, you know.
And integrity is, I think, my favorite word anymore. It means a lot.
It does. And you know what? I don't think we really understand the meaning of a lot of words that we use on a daily basis. And we don't know the real meaning of them. We just say them. And then when you go to research what they really mean, it's like, oh, I didn't know that meant that. Oh, okay.
It's the same way with the prayer that is written. Not, you memorize these prayers, especially as kids. And I'm just saying, I'm an ex-Catholic. I changed when I was 19 years old. Anyway, there's a story behind that too. But we memorized prayers, but did you ever dissect them and think of the words, what you're saying?
Exactly. Yes.
So to me, when my prayers, I just talk to the Lord.
Yeah, I like you and I are here speaking to each other. Mm-hmm. That's exactly the way I talk to him. Yep. It's like he and I are carrying on a conversation. But in some religions, and I'm not against them, I'm not putting down on anybody's belief. And I'm telling you this through a Baptist church. I know some of our people that say prayers in our church, they want to speak in King James. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, you don't have to do that. He knows that you're not, you don't know that. So just be yourself. But they'll speak in King James and use that prayeth and speaketh and thou and all that. And it's like, come on, that's not how you normally speak.
Well, say when you salute the flag or any of that, you memorize that stuff, but did you take each word and think about what it means? And that's the same with the word integrity. Do you really know what that word means? You know, that's so.
It has a lot more. It's a lot more detailed than you think that it is. Now you can have the Webster Dictionary give you a little short definition of it, but when you really start looking that word up, because for instance, on mine, I have 13 little steps that what integrity is. You know, if you have integrity, you have these 13 things. It's not just one thing you have.
And
you
I have
a lot of things to have integrity.
I have a million notes.
And I hope we get to them.
I hope so too. Anyway, welcome everyone. And I hope, remember, we're not judging anyone. We're not condemning anyone. We're learning right along with you.
Randy said, like Ring Around the Rosies pertain to the plague in Europe. You know, a lot of the nursery rhymes mean a lot different than what you think they mean. If people would go start searching the meanings of nursery rhymes, like she used Ring Around the Rosies, they mean something totally different. And like this little piggy went to market, this little piggy stayed home. That means I'm taking the piggy to not come back. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So
anyway, shall we get started? I will. We're going to go kind of back and forth and both discuss at the same time. And you know, we're just going to ad lib here, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, I do have a lot of notes and I'm going to read some of them. But I want to start with the first. So let's start with the basics. What is integrity? At its core, integrity is about being honest and true to your values, even when no one else is watching. That's important. It's doing the right thing, not because you get a reward, but because it aligns with who you are. So, an example, imagine you find a wallet on the street. Integrity is returning it to its owner, even if you could easily keep the cash and no one will know. Integrity isn't just about big moments. It's the small choices. It's owning up to a mistake at work or keeping a promise to a friend.
And to me, that is one virtue that I want to have is integrity. I want to have integrity. I want people to know that when I say something that they can count on it, that it's true, that it doesn't matter what everybody else is doing. What I say I'm doing, that's what I'm doing. You know?
Yep.
I have on here, I have 13 different little ways of being able to tell if somebody has integrity. And the first one is they value other people's time. It says they place a high value on their own time, so they also value and respect the time of other people. They know you're busy and have many things to do, so they won't hold you up or be easygoing about your schedule. When you spend time with them, they will likely deeply appreciate it and show you gratitude and appreciation for it. That's one thing that having integrity does. And they give credit where credit is due. You know, like you and I are here and you come up with this great idea, you know, and I take it from you or I say I thought of it. You know, that's not having integrity. I would say, you know, Josie and I were talking and Josie said we should do this, this, and this. They always give the person credit where credit is due. And a lot of people will actually hear somebody say an idea and then they will start doing it before that person gets a chance to do it, especially maybe on YouTube. They'll come up with an idea and they'll share it with somebody and that person will start doing that on their channel. But like you, Josie, would have said you were going to do something on your channel and I say, oh, that was a good idea. I'm going to do it. And I come out and do it first, you know, and act like I come up with the idea. That's not integrity.
No. And in here, it's like choosing integrity means losing relationships, jobs, or approval. Example, when you choose integrity, you don't allow people to manipulate you. You refuse to enable bad behavior and you set boundaries. It hurts, but it's honest. And that's honesty sets you free.
Oh yes, it does. And I was sharing this with Josie. It's so funny. People that do have integrity get beat up worse than the ones that don't, because the ones that don't tend to get upset with you because you don't join in with the manipulation, or you don't join in with the deceit that they're trying to pull. So then they get angry at you because you have standards and morals, and you don't want to behave like that. You're not trying to be better than them. You're not trying to act like you're better than them, but you just have a conscience,
Yeah. And it's, to me, when I leave this old world, that's one of the things I want to be remembered by, that I was honest, even if you didn't agree with me. And, a person with integrity doesn't expect everyone to agree with them.
And honestly, they don't want everybody to agree with them.
No, they only expect honesty. See, I admit I'm picky, but I admit when I'm wrong, and I accept apologies, and I can apologize.
That's another sign of integrity, is people that can apologize.
Yeah.
The ones that can apologize usually are the ones that have integrity. Also, they are authentic. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They may be a little rough around the edge, but their heart and their soul is intact. They know what they believe, and they have a good heart, but they are authentic. And a lot of times people can't take authenticity. They don't want that from somebody.
And do you really want to be around with somebody who always agrees with you and doesn't have standards? But does that make you feel good that they always agree, when down deep you even know that maybe they shouldn't agree with you? That's not right.
And I would say, Josie, you and I being friends, I don't want us to agree on everything, because with you having a difference with me and I having a difference with you, maybe we can learn something that we didn't know, or we may say, I never thought of it that way,
Yeah. Hi, Stephen. Welcome to my channel. And then
Amy's here. Let's see. Pamela's here.
Yeah. The hidden strength and integrity. Integrity gives you peace of mind, self-respect, even in silence. Trust. With integrity, you build trust, long-lasting relationships. But you will attract fewer people, but the right ones.
Ellen says sometimes people have to give up what's comfortable in order to grow.
Mm-hmm. True.
And Amy says, I love that. Being authentic is so important. I think authenticity is a big part of integrity. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
You ever been around somebody, and I know y'all probably have people in the chat, and you know that, they may say an ugly word every other, it just flies off of them, but they really don't mean any harm with it. It's just who they are. I'm not condoning that. I'm just saying that's just who they are. And I can appreciate somebody like that more than I can appreciate somebody that judges somebody for doing that, because that person may not had lived in an environment where they know that that's not right, and it's just what they were brought up in, and that's just who they are. They're not trying to put on airs or be any different. And you just kind of giggle to yourself, when they do that, and they don't mean any harm.
And in your environment, it's like my parents cussed all the time, and it took me a while when I became an adult, got married, and I got away from that because my husband didn't cuss, at least not around women. And so we were all raised a little different.
Well, you don't know until you know. You know what I'm saying? And if you were brought up a certain way, you don't know that what you're doing is not the way it's supposed to be done according to integrity or according to being mature in yourself. You know, you don't know.
Look who's here, our Call It Like It Is girl.
Oh, Ella. We were just talking about you, Ella. Come on in, girl.
That's one thing I love about Ella. She calls it like it is. And I respect that. I always have respect that. I'd rather have somebody come up to me and tell me what they think than to pretend to be really sweetie, and then behind my back.
Turn around and they just
stab you in the back. I'd rather have somebody.
Said, oh, I can cuss like a sailor when I want to, but I can also cuss in places I should not. Yeah, I mean, this is what I've always thought, and this is just my brain working. I think it's the intent of what somebody says, like how they mean it when they say it. We say, oh, that's an ugly word, and there's some words I would not say, and that's just me. But I've heard every one you can imagine. I've heard them. I feel like if somebody's saying those words in anger, that's a problem. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? But if somebody stubs their toe and they're walking through the house in the dark and they say one little small bad word, you know, I don't think that's, you know, like heaps of coals going to come down on your head.
No. And we've
I don't think the intent of the heart. You know, I think it's the intent of the heart.
Yeah. Hi, Pam Cliff. Welcome. I think we've all, you know, cussed in our life. If somebody says they never have, I don't believe them.
I don't believe them either.
Because, like I said, if you're hurt, the first thing that comes out is maybe a word we shouldn't say.
Yeah.
And it's just part of life.
Mine says there are consistently real about who they are, and they stay genuine with what they think and how they feel. To them, honesty is more important than appearing perfect. So you can count on their reactions and words expressing true feelings and honest intentions. You won't catch them pretending, lying, or being fake. See, that's the way I feel that way about Ella. I feel that way about you. And I'm saying that because I'm mostly around you both, that I've carried on conversation with you all at times. Now, I know there's other people in the chat that have those same qualities, but I've not carried on a long, extensive conversation. But in just seeing them in the chat, I can tell they have, they lean toward having integrity. And then there's some in the chat, Josie, and we just go there, that people can see that they don't even have boundaries, much less integrity. Mm-hmm. And, you know, it's like I was sharing with Josie, we can say, oh, we don't want to talk about YouTube and get into the drama and all that. But a portion of our life consists around YouTube. Yep. So we have to talk about it, because the drama and the reaction channels and the people that want to stir things up are talking about it. We have to bring the good side of it too, you know?
And we see it all the time. And if you really listen, keep your eyes open, you see people, when people come in, I'm not going to just say auctions and live streams, everyone's all sweetie. And they get off and you hear the little backstabbing. And my feeling is, if you don't like somebody, don't be around them. You know, the nonsense. Life's short. Just be real.
And I want to say this. If they're, and I've said it before in some of my videos and through the talk, if you get red flags around somebody when you are around them, and I don't care how pretty they look on the outside, I don't care how nice they're speaking out of their mouth, when you go get a red flag come up, the best thing for you to do, stay away. Just stay away from them. Don't. And eventually you might figure out why you get that red flag, you know, or why you don't really feel comfortable, or you think that person might be hiding something, or they're not being truthful or whatever, don't ever not listen to your gut, because it's never going to lead you in the wrong direction.
Yep. Usually your first impression too. Sometimes I'm hard on myself because sometimes I will judge somebody without knowing that 9 times out of 10 I've been right with the first impression. I don't know. There's just something you can pick up if you really listen. But I really don't want or try to judge people. That's why I call it like it is. And I know not everyone's going to like us in the first place. And if you think they're going to, then you're not being honest to yourself. You don't have the integrity if you think that everyone's going to just love you. You're going to.
And you shouldn't want that. You know what I'm saying? It's too big of a responsibility if everybody likes you. You know, what does it say in the Bible? We sharpen each other, brass rub, you know, how we're supposed to rub up against each other and kind of provoke each other into good works to grow. So if we all agreed, we wouldn't be able to grow because we wouldn't be pressing our iron against each other and getting it smooth, you know, causing us to hurt a little bit so we could grow. So it's impossible for everybody to like you.
I have a question here too, for the audience. What is your definition of integrity?
Yeah, what does the chat think it is?
Yeah. What do you really feel about integrity? Is it important or is it just a word?
Is it something that you strive to have, or you just think it comes naturally, or, you know, it's not important to you, or, you know?
Because I'll use myself for an example. If I was in any social gathering or in an auction, and I have an example. In fact, if you watch me, you know, you can always tell if I don't like something. I'm not going to give you a line of bull and tell you and make it sound fabulous when underneath I think it's a piece of junk. But everybody has a different taste. You could show me $50 or $1,000, and I'm still not going to lie to you. Even if you'd only pay $2 for it, I'll take the $2 before I will the other.
That's integrity. Yes.
And I know I tease and joke about that no one would hire me for marketing, but there's one thing, I can sleep at night.
Exactly. Randy said, back in the 60s, I spent time with a lot of soldiers. They said they could cuss out a superior as long as they did so respectfully and said, sir. It matters more, is what Ellen said. It matters more than most things in my book. Claudette said, loyalty and trustworthy to yourself and family and friends.
Yep.
Integrity is a mindset, a way of behaving.
Yep, exactly. I don't tolerate liars, thieves. Yep.
Inflated ego. That's a good point. Inflated egos. That's a very good point.
That is excellent. Hi, Robin. And you know, you will find, to me in my life, I would rather have 2 loyal friends than 15 fake friends.
Oh, definitely.
Your fake friends are around you when everything is going their way. Your real friends are around you forever, no matter.
Yeah, when things are not going well for you, your real friends, when you don't have anything to offer your real friends, they're still there. Yeah. But your fake friends want you to have something for them.
Mm-hmm. It's like years ago, people used to, there was, you know, I'm old, so you know some of my remarks are from the old days, but people would comment about barroom friends. I never used to go into the bars, but I heard the one guy saying, when you have a lot of money and you go into a bar and you buy everybody a drink, they're all your buddies. But when you run out of money, and you go into that same bar, nobody talks to you.
And probably won't even buy you a drink.
Yeah. So that's the difference between real friends and phony friends.
And it really hurts. And Josie, you know, you and I have lived long enough to know this is true. When you think you have a friend and then you find out that they were not, and they've been going behind your back talking and putting you down, and in your face they're all friendly to you. You know what I'm saying? That hurts worse than if a stranger did that to you.
Yep.
Because you put your time and effort into that person, you know?
And I always say it, my best friend, I've told a million people, if she didn't like what you were saying, she'd just hang up on you. The next day she'd call you, and no words, that I don't care what time of day or night it was. If you needed her, she was there for you. And you always knew it. And this woman over the years she did a lot of foster care. She had so many friends because they all accepted her for her honesty and integrity.
And she accepted them for ever how they were.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like I say in my chats, just because you're mad at me or you don't like me doesn't mean that I feel that way about you. And it doesn't mean I have to feel that way about you.
Oh, I let her know she would get mad, so I stopped that and let her go to school. Well, but I don't know. It's like I said, integrity is really important. Not that I've learned a lot. I can tell you, I was raised in a home that forgiveness wasn't a word. I don't think I ever remember my mom saying she was sorry about anything. So it took me many, many years to learn. And I can honestly say at this point in my life, probably in the last 2 years, nothing bothers me. I'm not angry anymore.
And it's such a freedom. And people do not understand that until they get to that point, that nothing is so important that you have to go to bed angry and wake up angry, want vengeance, you want someone to suffer for something they did, because once you forgive them or you have peace about it, it seems like the world just takes care of the situation without you even being in it. You know what I'm saying? You're just stepping back. And I think a lot of times we get in the way of things being taken care of, that if we would just leave things alone, that it would take care of itself, you know? But we want to jump in and start saying, no, I'm going to handle this. I'm going to do this because of, number one, pride. Number two, we want to take care of our own. Like if it was our child or our parent or our husband or whatever, we want to be there to say, hey, I'm going to take up for you. You don't have to worry about it. I'm going to defend you, you know?
Yep.
So I think that has a lot to do with it.
This is an example. I will read this because, we go to a lot of auctions, let's face it, that think about influencers who promote products that don't believe in just a paycheck. That's a classic case of integrity taking a back seat to profit. When you present an item and you're true in your description, in the quality, you might get less money, but you have true integrity. If you go and show a product and you make it sound like it's absolutely fabulous, there's no better anywhere, and you're just thinking about how much profit you can make without being honest, then you have no integrity. You're just looking at the money part of it. And I'm not saying we don't need to make a living. I'm just saying you need to be true to the product.
And Josie, I feel like this. I feel like a person that does that, like sells or promotes their product or whatever. I feel like they'll prosper more by being honest than being dishonest, because when you're dishonest, I feel like eventually people are going to discover that quickly, and then they're not going to ever believe another word you say, and that's going to be a bad mark against your channel. Let's just use YouTube. So you might as well come up front and just be completely honest, and people will respect that. I can respect somebody to give me the truth and it be a bad truth than you lie to me and make it sound good, because it makes me look foolish that I fell for what you said.
Well, it's kind of like, and I know as women, we look at different products for our skin. And how many of you have gotten online and read, this cream takes all your wrinkles away and, makes your face firmer? Well, you can see the sagging here. And how many have you tried those products? How many of them really work? Not many, if any.
Well, they may do a little highlight for a few hours or may make it look a little better, but we're all going to age. And there's nothing that's going to help it. I mean, you can slow it down, I think, by using certain creams and stuff like that. But eventually, it's going to happen.
It's going to happen. But how many of them lie about? How many companies actually promote something that's not real because of profit? Yeah. You see it all the time. You see it all the time. Go on Amazon.
I make a joke all the time because Ella has actually seen me without my makeup. And she's the only YouTuber that's ever seen me without my makeup on. But we got on StreamYard one day and I didn't have my makeup because I thought it was an emergency and she needed to talk to me, which it really was a urgent. But I thought she was going to fire me. So I get on there. I said, I don't have to look good for her to fire me. I can look bad. So I get on there with no makeup, and bless her heart, she didn't have that deer in the headlight look, like, oh God, I've never seen her like this, But she's the only one that's ever seen me without makeup. But it's not a pretty sight. I'm just going to tell you.
No. We're all going to, that's another thing that if you look on YouTube, some goofy person for, making money will put up these phony videos about, and they'll use a particular actress maybe or entertainer and show this young picture, and then they show this horrible picture. So they're 90 years old. What do you expect that they're going to look like they did when they were 20?
It's not going to happen.
It's not going to happen. But that's the fakeness of our world today.
Look, this next one, for you to say that, it says, they never take advantage of others. They are not interested in taking advantage of others, but rather love to build them up and help them get to where they want to be. They realize the importance of boundaries as well and will kindly respect the boundaries of others, explain to them that they have, and that is so true. You, for instance, you want other people to grow and mature and become who they want to be, and you're not jealous of them. Yeah. You want them to have things. If you have integrity, it's like, I don't have to not tell them this because I want them to know what I know so they can grow too. But a lot of people are so jealous. I've never in my life seen so much jealousy on YouTube. They will not, they don't want people to grow. They don't want to encourage people. They want to put people down, talk about them, say ugly things.
Yep.
I just can't get into that.
Yeah. And it's just, that's why I have, and I'm always willing to do it, especially a new person. If you don't want to go on by yourself, I've hosted for people and not even sold, just hosted. I'm not jealous of anyone. I think it's wonderful when people do well. We have our good days and we have our bad days. And I know there's people out there, it's not a race. It's not, we shouldn't try to outdo each other. Just be real.
And I think that's what holds people back from showing who they really are, is because of fear of, number one, rejection, which if you have integrity, you have been rejected so many times. It's like,
exactly,
that's just second nature. It's like, okay, well, you don't like me, that's fine, I'll move on. But if you're not used to that, and that's why they say when you come on YouTube, you should have thick skin.
Yeah.
Because if you don't have thick skin, you're not going to make it. You're going to get your feelings hurt all the time.
Yep.
Number one, you don't have to tell me that I'm overweight. I already know it. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to tell me certain things about myself. I already know it. So it doesn't offend me for people to come at me to say things that they notice about me. Because if you can't laugh at yourself, you can't laugh at anything, and I can laugh at me because I know that I'm not perfect.
Well, I had the funniest thing. I'll say I started on YouTube 6 years ago, and I was 6 years younger, but still older. And this one guy, I won't mention names, but he has a pretty large channel, and he hesitated about giving me a wrench. I didn't care and didn't ask for a wrench, but he acted like just because I was old, did I know what to do with it? And I thought, can I say jackass?
I could find a place I could put it, but I don't know if I know what to do.
I thought, I worked with computers before you were ever born. And so you can't always judge people by age, race, where they live, if they're rich or poor. You can't judge people.
Well, listen to this, and the reason I'm reading this is because I have the same. Randy says, I admit there's a woman who sells. I find her way of talking so fake. I cannot bear to attend her lives. I can't help it. I hope it's not the same person, but I feel the same way. And the best thing to do is just stay away, because if you go to it, you and I find myself doing this. If I slip in on it, I find myself judging it. You know what I'm saying? Judging the situation and bringing myself into a place that I don't need to be. Yeah. So I stay away from that situation, but I hope Randy and I are not going to the same place and feeling the same way.
I have a feeling you are.
I have a feeling you are. There is someone I feel the same way about, and it's not that this person, to me, is not using their real voice. And I feel like if they would use their real voice, it would sound really nice. But they use this persona of not being who they really are because they're afraid to be who they really are.
Hi, Susan.
To me, that's sad.
Yeah, I don't do and excuse me for using this term, I don't do the politics thing. That is saying what people want to hear, not what the real thing is. Because a lot of people like to just hear all the good. They don't like to hear the down-to-earth real. I'd rather hear the real.
That's because we're realists.
Yeah.
Everybody's not realists like we are. Some people, they would be devastated if they heard the truth. They don't want the truth. And that blows me away because I only want the truth. You know what I'm saying?
And I know people kind of, they might have a hard time when I speak because I am old and I'm proud that I am the age I am and can do what I do. But I also talk about, I know my time is limited and that bothers some people. But you know what? It makes me enjoy every second of my life.
And Josie, by you saying that, my days are probably limited too. I probably won't live to be as old as you. I may not. We don't know.
We don't know.
But with my disease, I probably won't. But that brings me to live more, knowing that, and we should all live like that. And I just kind of scold myself that I didn't live that way before I became, a doctor told me, you may not have but 7 more years to live, you know? And then when that was told, it's like, well, why should I worry about anything? Well, in reality, why should we worry about anything if a doctor
Right.
didn't tell you that, you know?
Right.
And
Exactly.
I just live every day to the fullest, you know,
Yep.
just at peace and just enjoy it as much as I can. And I don't worry. I'm not depressed, not angry. I'm surely not angry at anybody. That's for sure.
And I think when you're a realist, instead of living in a fantasy world, and I think people that don't have integrity live in a fantasy world, and they don't even, that's why they don't have integrity, because they don't want to hear the truth. The truth just digs deep in them and hurts them. But I'm just the opposite. I'd rather have the truth, because say if you don't like something about me, and there's a nice way of saying that to somebody, but how can you change if you don't hear the truth? How can you work on being a better person if you don't hear the truth?
And how do you not want to not grow and learn and mature and become, I mean, why do you want to be my age and be 15 and in reality, you know, in your down who you are, you act like you're 15, but you're really 57, because that's how old I am. Now, can you imagine how that looks? I mean, you see these people on YouTube and they're my age, but they're act like we're in high school. It's like, no, I've been to high school. I don't want high school drama, but they think it's okay. And it just, I just go and shake my head.
I've seen more childish behavior on social media than I've seen in the children, actually. I've seen and let's face it, women are the worst. You can't teach your kids maturity if you don't act mature. There is something here. It says, have you ever faced a situation where your integrity was tested? How did you handle it? That's a good one for the chat. Have you ever been tested?
How did you handle someone questioning your integrity? Have you ever had a situation where someone did question your integrity?
And
why they put that in the chat, it says they choose to discuss things through a civil manner or not at all. They respect the others, so they do not participate in arguments. They know that arguments try to find out an imagined idea of who is right, while discussions seek to find out what is right and what is true. And this is more important to them than inflating the egos. And see, that's so true. These people that get into these turmoils on YouTube and they won't let them go, they don't want to know what's right. They just want to keep going at each other, you know?
Yeah. If you have a problem, you might discuss it. You might even air your frustrations, but then you let it go.
Right. And you can be angry with it when it happens, and you can express that, but you don't have to down the person. You know what I'm saying? You can say what you want to say and be direct, and it's okay. But you don't have to belittle the person. You don't have to, bring them down and put them down. You can just say, well, you were wrong, and this is why you were wrong.
And we both
think you were wrong.
And Angie and I know, have seen a person who does all these things, and then the second breath acts like they're a Christian and prays.
Yes.
You can't do both.
I'm answering the chat. But I feel like it's a mockery, because I can say this about my faith, and everybody doesn't have the same faith I do, and I don't judge them for that. But when you're a Christian and you're spewing discord and hate and anger toward this group, and you are doing another way on your channel, and you're trying to promote love and unity and and comfort and all that. To me, that's just wrong.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you got to live it all the time. That's what integrity is. You got to be the same way when people are not even watching. You know,
Mm-hmm.
you gotta have the same standards.
Yeah.
And it's not easy. I'm not saying it's easy.
It's not easy. And a true believer, whatever you believe, a true believer works at being better, because we're never going to be perfect. Not here on this earth. We're never going to be perfect. But you work at it.
And a person with integrity will admit that they're not perfect.
Exactly.
They will tell you, I'm not perfect.
Yep.
Don't follow me because you're going to fall, because I'm going to make a mistake. Don't follow me.
I had people take, yeah. That's the one thing that probably irritates me more than anything when I watch in a live stream, and I know a particular person doesn't like that other person, and when that person comes on, you'd think it was their bosom buddy.
Yes.
There's a way of being nice and respectful, but when you overdo it, it sounds phony, sounds fake. Just
yes.
be respectful. You should never be disrespectful in a live stream, but don't
go overboard with it. Yeah,
exactly.
Randy was talking about, she said, I know a woman like that. She's all sweet and friendly in chats, but then out of the blue send an ugly email accusing of something not done. I just ignore her and do not respond back. Best thing ever. Do not respond.
Oh, yeah. I shouldn't say this, but there is a letter I have on my post on my channel. And I know I probably shouldn't have put it on, but I had never had such an email in my life. And when somebody said to me I was worshiping the wrong God and brought my daughter into it, I come unglued. And
well, I don't think there's anything wrong with defending that, Josie. I feel like for every response, there's an equal response coming. You know what I'm saying? You should be able to respond to someone that's attacking you, and they should realize that you should have the opportunity to come back and respond to them. You shouldn't have to sit quietly and listen to someone attack you and you not be able to say what you feel back, you know?
Yeah.
But if you're like me, and this is the way I am, and I've learned this over the years, I don't respond immediately. I say, okay, I'm going to wait a little while. I got to calm down. I got to think, I got to take a couple hours or, a few hours and just think about how I'm going to respond to this. Because if I was to respond immediately, I would look back on it like, oh, I forgot to say this. I forgot to say that.
Exactly.
I shouldn't have said this. I should have, and you start questioning it. Mm-hmm. But if you stop and think about it, and especially pray, I honestly pray, because I know the old me and I don't want to become the old me. And I have to just settle myself down, But if you learn to do that, it helps a lot.
Yeah. And Randy, I actually almost can figure out who it was, but I won't say anything. There are, and we're going to deal with that. And you know what? That's okay. That kind of thing I do ignore. We're not going to make everyone happy. I know in the things I sell, I stand behind my product. I've never said I was perfect. And when I'm wrong, I have refunded. But some people don't realize there's a tactful way of addressing problems instead of being downright rude. I don't tolerate it. And I'm getting better about not losing my Italian temper.
This one says, they accept and believe what others tell them until proven otherwise. Yet, if lied to, they often choose not to trust them again, and unless major steps and efforts have been made, they will not ever trust that person again. You know, they will let you go as far as you'll go to mislead them, but then when they find it out, it's like, okay, well, no, it's over with. You're nice to them, but you don't ever put your trust in them again. Once they prove it.
Yeah. No, I have, like I said, since I've been on YouTube, I've grown, because at one time I would stay angry. I don't stay angry at all anymore. I couldn't even say hello to them in the chat. And it's funny to me because there's a couple people that I've said hello to that apparently they're still mad because I'm not, and they don't respond. And you know what? It warms my heart.
It does, because it's kind of humorous.
I think, see, I went on with my life and I'm happy, and they're still miserable.
Yeah. And it's like, bless their heart. Why can't they you want them to get there? Because anytime I learn something, I want somebody else to learn it too. I'm like, oh, you won't believe it, man. I've been set free. I learned this, and I don't feel so angry. I'm not mad. I don't hold grudges. I'm going to tell you something. I used to be the type of woman that I would hold a grudge until the cows came home, until it hair lipped the state. I would hold a grudge. But now it's like, okay, you do your thing. I'm going to do my thing. And, if you need me, you know where I am. I love you from a distance. I'm going to pray for you. And I really pray for them. I'm not saying, anything against them. It's like this lady that you and I were talking about, that professes to be a Christian but does things behind the scenes. I pray for her, and I don't mean that in a haughty way. I do, because it's really sad the way she is.
Yep. And this is, I like what I found here. It says, be honest with yourself before you can be true to others. You need to be real about your own strengths, your weaknesses, your motivations. Keep your word. If you make a commitment, follow through. And if you can't, communicate openly instead of ghosting and making excuses.
Yeah, it's like Ella said, don't ghost me. Don't ghost me.
And stand up for what's right, whether it's calling out unfair behavior or supporting someone who's being treated poorly. Integrity means taking action even when it's uncomfortable.
And that's what's called adulting. You know what I'm saying? That's being an adult. Being able to not follow the crowd. When you were in school, you wanted to follow the crowd. You wanted to be part of the crowd. Yeah. But, now that you're an adult, you have to step it up and say, especially if you know what's right, you have to step it up and say, whoa, wait a minute. Y'all are all wrong.
Hi, Gino.
We're doing this.
I didn't see Gino come in. Welcome, everyone. We don't mean to miss anyone.
Yeah, Ella can rant now. Ella's got that. She can.
Oh, Ella and Victoria today were a scream.
I wanted to read this. It says, they help those who ask and know the value of giving kindness. They are dependable and often help others who cannot help back. They love being compassionate in this way as it opens up their hearts and brings about a true and loving connection between two people. And that's true. They want someone to see that there are true people in the world, that you can still trust people.
Yep.
And I believe that.
And the sad part about, there are millions of good people in the world. We only hear about the ones that are not. We don't hear about the good people. And I always joked about years ago, they need to have a channel or a station or a radio station that they just talked about good things. And someone said to me, there wouldn't be any station because they wouldn't last, because no one talks
there's not that many good people out there.
Yeah, no one talks about good things.
I can remember my grandmother used to say, there's more people that probably attend church that are not headed in the right direction than the ones that are outside the church. You know, people think that because people go to church that they're automatically going upward.
No,
But
it's
that's
a
not
building.
true. Right. And you have to know that there are some cruel people inside a church building. I mean, if you've ever attended church and for years at a time and grew up in church, you have to know that there are people there that are not living correctly, and you get hurt by them. I think the worst hurt I ever been is from somebody at church to have hurt me. I think that is the worst hurt I've ever felt.
Jesus never had a religion.
Oh no!
So when
Religion is man-made.
People have asked me like what church, and I say, or I follow Jesus. I don't follow a church. I follow Jesus.
And the church is the people. It's not the building. You know what I'm saying? And religion is man-made. I believe in Christian and non-Christian, and that's just my belief. You don't have to believe the way I do, and I'm not going to judge you for your belief. But that's just, and I'll respect you for your belief, and I would prefer that you would respect me for mine. But
Susan, thank you for being here. Well, you know, religion is what killed Jesus.
Oh yeah, you're exactly right.
Yeah. Anyway,
said the people who make the news are minority. Good people rarely make the news.
Exactly, it's true. I always thought it would be fun to have a news station that only talked about good things. Maybe good things that someone did. Maybe they saved a community.
A feel-good story.
Yeah,
they feel good story. Yeah,
they save starving children. We don't hear those things. We hear more about animals being rescued than children. And you know, there's a lot of good people out there, but we need to start hearing about them, not about all the bad stuff.
And I also think we tend to not want to befriend somebody because of the way they may look or the way they may give the first impression, which may not always be their best because they may be going through something and you really don't know what they're dealing with. And or we don't like something they may have said, or we don't like the fact of their religious belief or their political belief, or just we find some little reason not to befriend somebody, and come to find out they may be the very person that would be your very best friend ever. You know, I have had that happen to me.
There's something I learned, and I don't know why I started saying it, that we all have the same color blood. It's red. No matter what color we're on the outside, no matter what we believe, our blood's all the same. It's red.
And I always say, you know, we all wipe ourselves the same way, front to back or back to front. If you do it any different than that, please email me and let me know how you do it. Because some people think that they're better than other people. And it's not where you came from, it's where you're going and who you are and who you're involving into. I mean, there's some people that have lots of financial means that I don't even care to be around.
You know, it's been proven that the poor actually donate more than the rich.
Oh, I believe that.
That the poor will get out and help another poor person. And
I do believe that.
And it goes to show you it's the heart that counts. Doesn't matter what you look like, you're fat, skinny, white, yellow, black, red, whatever you are, it's the heart that counts. Nothing else counts.
You know, I think I would challenge people to take, maybe they couldn't do it for a week. Maybe they could only do it for a couple of days. But just for a couple of days, start changing your perception and looking at people different than you would normally look at them, or do something that you wouldn't normally do that's out of your character, that is something that it's good toward the universe or somebody, or to make your life better, and see how connected you feel towards somebody by doing that. Don't always be aggressive, and be inclusive and not exclusive is what I'm trying to say. Even if you could only do it for a couple of days and just see if it made a difference in your life. If it made you feel better, or your attitude got better, or your health got better, something.
Can I use you for an example without embarrassing you?
Okay. Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you. I met a lot of people on YouTube. Like I said, I've been doing this for 6 years, and I went through a lot of drama in my life. And when I met Angie, at first, I liked her, and at first I thought she's almost too good to be true. And I thought she's neutral to everything, until I learned. I can honestly say, and I don't mean to embarrass you, you'll never meet a truer, loving, more person than Angie.
Oh, thank you, Josie. That means so much to me.
She never judges because someone else gossiped or someone didn't have any integrity, and they were downcasting a group of people. Angie doesn't judge like that. She finds out for her own self how you treat her. And I've learned a lot from her. Even she's a lot younger than me.
I have learned. Lord have mercy.
And I can honestly say you will never meet a more neutral person on social media than this lady here.
Well, I will say this. It took me a while to get here, to get to this point. That's why I say never stop growing. Because if you all could have known me in my 30s and part of my 40s, you would not be looking at the same person that you are now. But I had to make a decision what I wanted to become, and who I wanted to be. And I want to be the person that loves people for who they are and not for who I want them to be, to meet them where they are, and to say, I don't necessarily agree with you, and I don't necessarily want you to be where you are. And can we move along a little bit? And maybe, you can teach me something, I can teach you something. And it tends to work better that way than to just be dominant over somebody. But Josie, I'm going to put the buck back on you a little bit and say,
I've had it.
You have brought so much
I've had it
into my life too. I feel the same way. I've learned a lot from you, and I cherish our friendship, and I know I can trust you, and that doesn't come easily on YouTube. No. Trust doesn't come easy on YouTube, and I know I can. And the wisdom that you have and the things that you say, I just absorb it, and I think about it, and I'm like, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, and I learn from it. And to me, I think that's why our friendship is the way it is because I know that I take what you say to heart, and I'll meditate on it and think about it. And I'll go, that's interesting. I'm going to look that up. And when you said we're going to talk about integrity, and I thought, well, I know what integrity means. I know what that means. But when I started studying integrity, it was like, oh my gosh, this is a good topic.
It's a great topic. Yep. And thank you, Angie.
Thank you.
I have learned so much from you. And like I said, like you, I wished I was the person I am today, even 10 or 15 years ago.
Oh, absolutely. I feel the same way.
We are all human. And I've always said, I think God put us here to learn. It's like a school.
Yes.
And so you let go of the past. You don't stay angry. I don't care what you did in the past. You let it go and you go on with your life and you better your life. You can't live in the past. You can't change it. I don't care. You can cry, you can scream, but you're never going to be able to change the past. So you live for today and you pray that you have tomorrow and you better yourself.
And look, there's nothing new under the sun. There's nothing new. So whatever you are going through, don't think that no one else has ever experienced it, because they have. And it's okay for you to talk about it. You just have to find the right person to talk about it to. Mm-hmm. You don't need to maybe talk to everybody about it, because some people are not mature enough to handle what you're about to tell them. So you need to make sure you can trust the person that you confide in, mm-hmm. and want to share who you are, or you're going to end up getting hurt. But there's nothing new under the sun. So don't hide in a closet thinking that, oh, I can't share this because they won't like me, or they won't accept me, or they will think I'm weird. No, it's okay. It's okay to be who you are.
If those people think you're weird or they don't like you, because then they're not the right people to be around.
And they're trying to control you.
Yeah.
A lot of people are all about control.
Control.
And I don't want to control anybody. Do you hear me? I don't want to control anybody.
No, me neither. I have enough time controlling myself.
That's too big of a responsibility. Yeah. I don't want that.
And I like this. It says, stay grounded when it hurts. Journal to stay clear on your values. Journaling is good. Seek out people who live the same way. You'll find your tribe. Remember, rejection for the right reason is protection.
Oh, read that again. I like that.
Remember, rejection for the right reason is protection.
Yeah, that's right. Because everybody doesn't have to accept you, and don't desire to be accepted by everybody, mm-hmm. because that's not safe. That's kind of what that's saying. You know, yeah. You're not safe, and you may get into a situation that you know ain't quite right, but you're just going to tiptoe through it. No, don't even put yourself in that position.
Hi, Alicia.
Welcome. Wow, said, I wish my mother-in-law could hear what you guys are talking about.
Well, can you can play the replay to her if you're close by, or.
I will say one more thing. When my children were teenagers, I started praying that I would be a good mother-in-law. I've had a good mother-in-law, and I wanted to be a good mother-in-law. I knew that there was, when my children got married, and by being married, I knew, okay, I sleep with James. There's no way that nobody's going to convince me that to go against him. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I knew when my children got married, they're sleeping with their spouse. So I'm not going to have any say so in their relationship. So I prayed that the Lord would just send them the right person, that I would be a good mother-in-law, and that I would not interfere, which I've not ever been an interfering type person. But you have to understand, sometimes you just have to start praying for things that hadn't happened yet, so you can be prepared when they do happen. So now that both of my children are married, I treat my son-in-law and daughter-in-law like my child, one of my children.
Yep.
You know, and I have a good relationship with them, whether they may say the same thing about me or not. They can say I've never interfered with their relationship with my child, you know? And I feel like that's what the maturity that I've grown to, that I think, you know, it's for me to make that decision. It's not for someone to, you know, you have these mother-in-laws that are just like, oh
yeah,
you're not good enough for my son. You're not good enough for my daughter.
Why, Amy, have a good option.
And, you know, or anything like that. And I never wanted to be that way.
Yeah.
So, and we will talk about mothers at a different time, Josie.
Yeah.
Because you and I had a similar mother.
Yeah, we did.
As far as a mother-in-law, I had a good mother-in-law.
See, and I'm the same way, Angie. I told my boys that when they became adults and they were supporting themselves, I would never tell them how to live who to marry. I may not approve, but I said, you'll never know it.
That's
And
what I said.
I've stuck by it. When my grandkids were little, I played by my daughter-in-law's rules. And I helped with the kids. They had sippy cups at a certain time of day. I mean, I did.
Yeah, I follow right along with everything how they want to raise their children, regardless of how I raise them. Yeah. If that's the way they want to do it, I'm like, okay, then that's the way we're going to do it. I didn't, force myself on them or anything.
Yeah.
And it's better that way.
It's better
because they're not going to listen to you anyway.
No, and you know what? Let's be honest. Every generation's different. And, there's always that generation gap. And I can see it now, and I've said it in other live streams. When I was young, I used to think, oh, God, this old person's giving me advice.
What do they know?
Yeah, what do they know? Well, now I know. I'm doing the same thing.
I would say, what the H do they know? They don't live my life.
Right. Hi, Mike. How are you?
Hi, Mike.
And it's so funny because I think, gosh, now I know how the young people feel. They don't really want my advice.
And see, Wildflower's saying, my mother-in-law needs to learn boundaries when it comes to my kids. Absolutely true.
Absolutely.
Because I do not want to interfere with my son or my daughter's marriage or her relationship with her children. Her telling or my son telling their child one thing and me correcting them in front of my grandchild, which I will never do. And now when they come to my house, that's a different time. I'm with them, with me. I'm not going to do anything that I want me to, but Berkeley may get a little more sweets than she gets at home, or she may get a special prize or a gift, and the same way with Lincoln and Libby. But it's not that I'm disobeying what they want. I'm just being Gigi. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, it's mothers and mother-in-laws, you have to draw the line. I mean, like I said, I dealt with a difficult mother who thought she knew it all. So
it takes years to overcome that. I'm living proof that it takes years to overcome that. Mm-hmm. But once you overcome it, the lessons that you learn, oh my goodness, you look back and go, I am so glad I learned that at a young age. Yep. It hurt at the time, but now that I look back, I'm like, I'm so glad I learned that.
Yeah, because it like I have a beautiful relationship with my daughter-in-law, and I know that if I ever get to the point where I need help, she'll be there.
Right, and that means a lot.
And that means a lot. So,
well, what have y'all thought about the topic tonight?
Yeah, let
y'all answer that, and then we'll shut her down. But I want to know what everybody thought about the topic. Do y'all like these kind of topics on certain, like the words like integrity or things like that? Or do y'all enjoy that? Or y'all can send us an email if y'all want to talk about a certain topic. You can send us an email.
And we are having another funny story on my other channel on the 29th. I do have to make my thumbnail. So you might want to join us.
Is that on a Wednesday or a Thursday? That's a Thursday, isn't it?
I think it's a Thursday. Yeah.
Now when I think of a story, Josie, I'm writing it down. Because if I don't write it down, I'm going to forget it. And I'm not going to tell it.
At 4 my time, so it's 7 your time. So
yeah.
Most everyone, it's more convenient for them around 7 or in the evening. Now I gotta go.
Now I can go gossiping. Tell
Gossiping.
it all, Robin. Tell it all. Just spill it. Spill the tea.
Robin has a lot of stories.
Yeah, just spill the tea, Robin. Just tell it all. But what I want to say is, if y'all don't know, when Josie and I do our shows or when we go live or whatever, there will be thumbnails out that y'all can join in, not just this program, but other places that we are, where we are.
And
like
on
Josie's other channel.
Yeah. Next month it'll be on Angie's channel. We rotate the channels. And if you have something that you want us to talk about, let one of us know. And
my email's in my about information on my YouTube channel. So just email me, and anytime anybody in the chat can email.
Yeah.
I mean, if it's an angry email, I mean, I can handle it. Just I may not answer you, but I can handle it.
I will never get mad at you for being honest with me. The only time I would get mad or upset is if I definitely knew you were lying.
Well, it takes a lot to anger me now.
Yeah.
I used to get angry a lot faster than I do now. It takes a lot. A lot of times I just laugh about it. Like the lady coming into your chat saying that I had bought something from her and I needed to pay her, and that, and I'm like, I didn't even know you sold stuff. I don't know who you are. What are you talking about? And I just kind of laughed at it like, you got to be kidding me, lady. I don't even know who you are. And anybody that knows me knows I'm not that type of person that go in somebody's chat, buy something and not pay for it. I mean, goodness gracious, that's not even my character.
Well, how can I say this in a kind way? She's a special kind of person, put it that way.
Yeah, and I can meet her where she is. Don't get me wrong. I can. I'm not going to associate with her, but I can meet her where she is and I can be nice, but I'm not going to associate and bring myself to be in the crowd that she's in, because that's just not me. It's not who I am.
I just think if we all had and worked on integrity and we're honest and true to ourselves, we would have a lot more fun on YouTube.
And don't not have integrity because you want somebody to be your friend.
Yeah,
because if they want you to jeopardize your integrity, they're not your friend.
Yep. Don't ever let anyone put you down to their level. You stand up for yourself. And I always said God didn't make junk. And
everybody has value. And you're here for a reason. If you wasn't here, your time would be up and you would be completed all your reason to be here. So if you're here, there's a reason you're here. And because if you didn't have a reason, you wouldn't be here.
Yep.
So with that, Josie, do you think we covered everything?
I think we did. And, I appreciate comments after the replay comes up. And like I said, if you have any ideas, we're open to all of them. If we can be a little help, we can help each other.
And we're just here to facilitate. We're not here to tell you what to do, how to do it, that we know everything. We're just here to facilitate. That's it.
We make mistakes, but that's how we learn, by making mistakes, and we try to improve them. So anyway, we're going to say bye and God bless, and see you soon, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.